that's better.
Hi, Mom.
Oh, you missed the best 5 minutes of the show right there.
Yes, Mom, they are. My values are the exact same.
I don't think mine are. Because I feel like you can sit in a room somewhere and learn a bunch of information, but there's only so much stuff that someone could say during, you know, one of those breakout sessions or something when you're at like a lunch and learn or you're at.
Of course, our good friends at Steph's Bookkeeping, great ribbon cut.
Getting distracted and just tell your story.
And we sent them flying. You bet. It was disgusting. Whoa,
Hey,
whoa. Keep it low. Holy sham, wow.
We were listening to music.
We shouldn't have said that. It's trademarked.
We were listening
Send
to
your check,
music
too.
in the parking lot.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the show.
Cheers.
Are you about it today? Are you going to be about it? Are we going to talk about it? What are we going to do about it?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I feel like the longer green room makes me just want to be a talk about it versus a be about it.
So true. Let's start off with talk about it, be about it, right? What does that mean to you?
Well, so this morning I Googled it and I thought it was like
Is that how you prep for these shows?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I thought that it was like a synonym to do as I say, not as I do, but it's not at all. So basically, when you talk about something, the said action hasn't begun, but when you are a doer, then you're in the middle of said action.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
You didn't think it was that. You thought it was.
I thought it was going to be kind of similar.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah. I thought it would be similar to that, but it's not. So if you be about it, then you're in the middle of said action or task or whatever, and then you're a beer doer kind of person.
That's how I pictured it. So to me, there's people out there that will give you every they have all the greatest ideas, but they don't do one idea. Who?
Hi, Mom.
Wow. All right. Okay.
Yikes.
Okay, Mom. We'll switch it.
Joe can't.
You can't because you're going to look at that stitch.
Joe's OCD won't allow him to look at the stitch on the other side of the room.
But I'm going to comment about this.
No, I like to change it.
And then
I think you're being.
I have to sit on this side because behind me is this weird stitch in the
elevator,
moving blankets, and the.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming to you live.
Now I'm looking at it. I'm paying attention to it.
Oh, Eric, did you see that thing I posted on Facebook for you about the
thing,
the scammer thing for the cyber? Did you see that?
Wow. Why don't you call him or text him? Like we're doing a radio show.
Listen, this is in 6 years.
Very personal radio
in
show.
6 years, when an entrepreneur gets on the treadmill to listen to this podcast, that's going to make a lot of sense.
I mean, it's just going to make the most sense about the show.
Cybersecurity Month is coming up, I think, in October. So,
well, that's
just
great.
Saying.
What is the casting couch decor? I don't get it. Anyway,
I feel like Eric is jealous of our new
always
setup.
Wants to be on the show, and so he makes as many comments as he possibly can. So that way we mention his name as many times as we can.
Listen, just because we're coming from the freight elevator right now, live from the freight elevator between floors 3 and 6.
So. Talk about it, be about it. Many people, let's talk about talking about it.
So for me, I call those in theory people.
Oh, what about visionaries?
Interesting.
I feel like when people do a lot of talking and not a lot of action, I feel like it's a lot of in theory. Like you'll say something and suggest something and assume it could possibly maybe work. But if you haven't actually tested it and done it and gone through the said task or action, you're an in theory person to me.
And to me, in theory, people are in theory unless they know what the hell they are doing, right? Because then they can talk about something and be like, oh, no, we're going to do this, this, and this. And in theory, it's going to work because they've done it 1,200 times.
But I mean, like, there's like, right, but you don't know until you actually do it. Like,
with them
I
or
feel
whatever.
Like, well, no, but I'm just saying, like, there could be a new redneck repair that comes down the road, and you're like, okay,
hey,
in theory,
every redneck repair is a new one.
But if you're like, I have said
that is the definition of redneck repairs.
Right, but if you're like, if I have said items in my car, okay, and this situation arises, in theory, it should work.
Mm-hmm.
But until you actually stop talking and telling me about this such thing and start MacGyvering your fishing line out of a paper clip and a string and pulling the twill out of your jackets, like
all things that I can totally do and have done before.
Right.
So
my mom feels like talkers are procrastinators.
But like you have to plan, right? You have to plan, you have to talk about it, you have to plan it out. Because also when you talk about it, you're sussing out the details, B, maybe the bugs, right? Just to talk about it, you're going to get a lot of the kinks worked out.
Right. You could have like amazing brainstorming sessions and take away, you know, so many good nuggets. And you're like, okay, like according to Kent, if I want to have a successful radio station, I need to do these things. And then, I feel like I could trust him telling me this. And then now I have to take said information and actually act upon it.
Okay.
So I feel like at a point, the talking starts to become just a circle jerk of nonsense. And you're not moving forward.
I love a good circle jerk, though.
But it's just like, you're not moving forward with the talking. Like there's only so much you can brainstorm.
How much can you plan? How
many times can you talk about a same?
Is putting the plan onto paper, is that still brainstorming and still talking about it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You haven't started doing anything. Like I could tell you, and then you write it down. Okay, and then now you're going to move it. So you move it from a conversation to a piece of paper to
it's a plan
to your refrigerator. Is that what we're doing?
Could be.
With your Restoration One magnet.
Yes, it's going to be a big plan. So there's going to need to be like 4 magnets. What are we talking about here?
I don't know.
See.
I don't know.
Eric feels that our environment fits the choice of.
Listen, here's what I'll say to Eric. I'm not sure what movies he's been on the casting couch for, but the ones that I have seen are usually like in a hotel room or something different.
Like a conference room,
not an elevator.
Not an elevator. So Eric, put a couple links up there for us or something.
Eric
speaking of just talking about or doing, let's do this. Look, if you're looking for more in the know with Steph and Joe, visit their Spotify out there. Their podcast is out there. It's rocking and rolling. It's growing. Check them out and just search In the Know Steph Joe. Very good.
I also have to make a shout out to Cary Main Street Fest this year. It's this weekend, tomorrow.
2024.
Tomorrow and Sunday. And so I'm really pumped about that, and I will be there the entire weekend.
That is wonderful. So
in the area.
So I'm going to jump in here, talking about it versus being about it. A visionary talks a lot about it, right? I mean, there's visionaries who talk a lot about it, dreamers, right? And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing, but some people just aren't the doers. Is that fair?
Now, when they are not the doers, are they this? And this is kind of like, to me, where you get a difference of getting it on paper, getting humans to go do it. You're not physically doing anything, but you're initiating the do.
Yeah, but if you're delegating, you're doing.
True.
So like
That's
if
so
I
true.
Yeah.
if I talk
Yeah.
to my
Yeah.
team and we have a meeting and I say, okay, person one, you're going to handle this, and this, you're going to handle this, and that, and we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Like I'm delegating and I'm doing something that propels the said task or thing forward into completion.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like me just having a meeting and saying, hey, we should really do this. And this would boost our revenues by 23% and blah, 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 blah.
And then,
and then everybody's like, okay, cool.
Sweet.
And then like everybody just goes back to their office and just starts working.
And Lynn, she just shuts us, says Joe is definitely a doer. Thank you for all your help. I was looking in the wrong line of my glasses. I
Yeah.
apologize.
Okay. The bifocals you were ready to split.
That's right.
Yeah. Right where it gets fuzzy. Yeah. Okay. To me, there's people that talk about it, and then you can talk about it, but you do need that bit of talking about it.
Yeah.
Right. But I feel like some of the people that talk more than do, I feel like are the same people that would be comfortable with living by the philosophy of fake it till you make it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because I feel like if you talk more than you do, what are you really accomplishing? Because my mom could tell you though, like when I'm trying to figure out like a path that I want to take, I could play both sides of that path in a way that could convince you that said path is the correct path for me or whomever to take.
Yep.
But then after I sleep on it, and then I'm like, you know what? I think maybe the other path might be the better option. And I can tell you and persuade you into that path just as easily. I mean, not so much my mom, but I'm saying like other people. Because she knows my bullshit.
Yes, you don't say.
All moms do.
You know,
All moms.
I think one or two other people in this room know your bullshit too.
But I'm just saying, it's just like I can talk and talk and talk and talk, but until I do something to show you, I don't know, I just feel like actions speak louder than words in any situation. Like if you did something that upset me and I told you that it upset me, and then you apologized, like I could really care less about the I'm sorry. Like I just want you to not do it again. So your actions would be what I would put more weight into it.
I've been trying to tell my daughter that for fucking like a year and a goddamn half.
But it's just
she literally says I'm sorry every day like 12 times and then goes right back and does the same goddamn thing like 5 minutes later. And I'm like, what are you doing? Knock it off. I'm sorry. No, you're not. You keep doing it.
Right.
You're not sorry.
Or like when they say, I'm coming. No, you're not. You'd have been here by now. Literally.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, like I'm not like you definitely need to talk, strategize, brainstorm. Like you need to get the juices flowing in some way, and you're going to do it by talking, and then you're going to test it out, and then you'll go back to talking to tweak, fix, redevelop, and then you'll go back to doing. Like I feel like there is a well balance of it, but if you're doing more of one than the other, I don't see how you're going to be successful in said task.
Do you find that some?
Because I talk to myself all the time while I'm doing stuff.
Okay, are you a doer or are you a talker?
Like if I'm sitting there and we have like a new...
I mean, we're all a bit of both, but which way do you lean?
I feel like I'm more of a
You go
doer.
both ways?
Yeah. But yeah. I'd say it's like a 60-40 split, depending on the day.
Oh, so a back seat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like...
I'll allow that.
It depends on the day and what's in front of me. But like I will literally like if we have something new or unique pop up that we haven't necessarily dealt with on a lot at work, I will sit there and I will run through the scenarios in my head and be like, okay, if I use this account with this contra account, it affects this. And then if I do this or this and swap this out, and then I'll like run through it in my head and then it will click and be like, oh, this was the solution all along. And then I can do it and fix it. But like, you know, but I also taught myself bookkeeping in a way where I broke it and fixed it. Like I never, like at 18, I didn't have formal training. At most I had a checkbook register class in high school to teach me how to keep a check register and mail an envelope. Like that was
How
All I knew
often-
going in.
Yeah, that's good. I had that same class.
but most of your time though you're spent doing.
For when I was learning the said task, yeah. Like when I was learning bookkeeping, I was more of a doer than a talker because I didn't really have anybody to talk to about it. Like it wasn't like I could go to my
But
18-year-old,
thinking about it-
17-year-old
thinking
friends.
about it to me is talking about it, right? If I'm not doing anything, I'm just sitting there thinking
No,
about it.
I'm just saying, like, if I'm tinkering around on the computer trying to figure out how QuickBooks works and I'm doing it, I didn't have anybody to bounce my ideas off of. Now, as an adult and an entrepreneur and knowing so many other entrepreneurs, I can have like a more balanced environment of talking and doing.
Fair.
But before when I was younger, yeah, because it's just like when if you ripped apart an engine and put it back together or a carbonator or whatever,
A what?
or what is it?
Carburetor.
Carburetor. There you go.
Carbonator.
Carbonator.
You got that carbonator on that 69 Mustang. Got to work my carbonator.
But I'm just saying, if you took apart
Obviously,
a piece
Rich is the mechanic.
I don't know if anybody else thought that as quick as I did. But...
Oh, I did.
but I'm just saying, if you took apart, like if you're on your snowmobile and you took apart like an item and put it back together, did you bounce the idea off your dad, or you just were like, all right, I'm just gonna unscrew this and we'll just
I'll be honest,
let Jesus take the wheel.
I didn't really do any of the small mechanics on the stuff. I knew how to spray some carb cleaner in it.
Some carbonator cleaner.
Carbonator cleaner.
You're gonna call it a carbonator next time in front of somebody. It's gonna happen. That inception seed has planted, and it's gonna happen to you now.
What does it do? It adds air to the liquid.
So here's what I'll say. If you're a talker about it, you're a talker about it in everybody's business. Right? How many times have people come up to you, Steph, and go, oh, well, you need to do this, this, and this, and Joe, you would be more efficient if you did this, this, and this, and they're not in your business. Their business isn't even very successful, or they're not even an entrepreneur.
Totally.
I'm a manager over here at Casey's, and I'm telling you, listen, Joe, if you want to run that efficiently, here's what you need to, and you're like, what?
My wife calls those that. Unsolicited advice.
Yeah.
Right. And I am guilty of unsolicited advice.
Oh, so you're a talker talking about it.
Well, I like to give unsolicited advice. And so I do it. And then now she's made me a little more aware of it. And so I will, if I'm giving it and then if I catch myself doing it, I will be like, hey, sorry, this is unsolicited advice. Did you want advice? I'm happy to give it to you.
Sure.
Here's how I would do it.
But we all know that. Right? We all know those people. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're in a lot of network groups and things, and there are people you're just like, oh my God, here comes Kent, and he's going to tell me how wonderful he is his business, and then he's going to tell me 3 ways to do my business better.
I had a business coach tell me, an advisor, business advisor, counselor, coach, whatever you want to call himself. He came up to me and said, I can get you $100,000 more profit.
That was it. That's all he said.
That was like kind of his first opening line pitch.
In what time frame?
Exactly. So,
how much money was I making at the time?
Right.
What did it fucking matter? Right? Like, I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, if you're going to increase my bottom line by $100,000, like, what's your timeline? I
don't know what profit he was talking about. I think he actually said revenue.
That's
like
different.
It was,
Like,
it was like, different. It was like.
Because he's going to make you spend a fuck ton of money to make that $100,000.
It was such a bullshit line, right?
Right.
Exactly. And like,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Sorry. I can, like, I don't know. How do people read through that shit, right? Like, people can talk all they want. So how do you pick out the talkers?
Well, it's that unsolicited. I think that's what talking abouters do, right? It's that unsolicited.
I give unsolicited advice, but the unsolicited advice I give is for shoes, insurance, dogs, and cleaning shit up.
Right, but
the things that I've been very successful in.
Well, right, and that's okay. But you don't walk into Casey's General Store and go, well, listen, if you guys want to get more revenue, here's this.
This way,
right.
Look at this
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that we all know that. Totally. We all know that person. And you look at them like coaches, life coaches. I'm using air quotes for those who can't see me. Are the quintessential talk about iters. let me tell you how to run your life. And you look at them and like, yours is a fucking mess.
Right.
Why do
my
you
God,
want
we
to
were
tell
just talking
me
about that in the green
how to
room.
run my life?
We were talking about
Right.
life, health, the different types of coaches.
Right.
Yeah.
So a life
Yes.
coach, several, not all of them. There might be some good life coaches out there. I'm
sure
clumping
there
them.
are great
But
ones. We're
most
not
of those,
knocking them. We're not knocking
right.
all of them. Yeah.
Most of those are talk about iters.
You're saying most. I'm saying there may be some out there that are that way. There may be some out there. I'm not judging anybody.
Right.
Until I meet you.
I'm just in
Okay.
I don't want to judge
in
the
my
industry.
in my experience,
Yeah.
it's the light, and I'm like, well, you're you want my life to end up like yours? I'm not jumping on that train, right? Those are talk abouters, right? Now you give advice in areas that but you will also go, hey, look, move over. Let me do this, right? Let me show you. You're that guy.
I will.
Right, because you're a doer.
I am.
Well, I mean, you gave me like a whole speech and thing when you gave me the chainsaw of which way to point it, how to start it, what to do if the chain gets stuck.
I don't want you to cut your.
Right.
You rolled a
So,
goddamn.
like,
we would have had this injury show a lot sooner if I didn't give you that
right. So I'm
of the
saying
chainsaw.
because you've experienced using the chainsaw a couple times in the past, that
Correct.
I was willing to take your advice and do
That was not
for the most part the
you
things
asked
that.
me to use my chainsaw.
Yeah, but I didn't
don't
ask
want
you how to
saw
use it. I'm like, I got it.
No, nope. I'm telling you, no. Shut up and listen.
Derek.
It was more of like a dad-daughter moment right there.
Joe, yeah. Joe talked to her about where to hide the body after she uses the chainsaw. Ring, 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 ring.
It's not. It actually was electric, so she didn't have to pull. So it was just a.
Right.
It wasn't even.
But I just feel like it's like giving somebody like if you're
that wasn't
like
unsolicited because
steps
you
to
asked me
complete
for my
right.
chainsaw.
But if somebody is giving me steps to complete said task and you know that I've never done said task, I feel like you're not necessarily being a talker, you're just an advisor at that point.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you've lived through it
I agree.
successfully. You have all your fingers and toes that I know of. I've never really seen your feet, but I'm assuming
They're
you have
all
them all
gnarly,
there.
but they haven't been cut off. You're right. You're
so I feel like, so that would be fine.
I agree.
Just like if I was like, you know what, I'm going to sell my bookkeeping business and I'm going to open up an R1. I would come and lean on you and Carrie for advice on getting into that space and what you guys went through with the franchise and all of those kind of things.
And for all your restoration needs, call Restoration One of Gary.
Now the question would be though, you go and start said business. You're reaching out to me because you're smart enough. There are people out there that have started the business and don't.
I see it all day long, Joe.
I know. I know you do.
I imagine you
So
do.
to me, that's like, are those people also the talkers?
I feel like the people that can't grow their business beyond a certain point in an industry, and it's not by choice. By choice is very different. Like if you choose to maintain your business at a certain size and level because that's what you want,
right?
That's one thing.
One man in a truck because I don't want employees.
Right. But if you are looking
each year I can complete X amount of dollars in revenue.
Right. So like if I was looking to scale and take over the bookkeeping world.
Right.
And I'm standing there talking about all these things. It's just, okay, perfect example. Me getting my CPA license. Mm-hmm. I talk about it. I've talked about it. I don't know. I'm going to go with 7 or 8 times. Mm-hmm. Have I done anything outside of ordering materials to read about the test? And now that material has expired and now the test has changed and the expectation has changed. So now I just got to throw it all away anyways. So in that sector.
Recycle?
Yeah, I could. Or I could burn it at a bonfire. I could use it for kindling.
Well, I'm not a throwaway.
That paper burns
I'm
weird.
A recycler.
I'm just saying, like.
So you feel that
I'm a talker about that. Like I am not a doer.
Yeah.
My drive, passion, desire really does not match my talking when it comes to that topic.
I talk a lot.
Okay, now there's dead silence.
Well, I do though, but I like talk. I have a lot.
All right, and ladies and gentlemen, it was on September the 27th at 3:29 Central where Joe admitted I talk a lot.
like I have ideas, right? And so by that standard, I can go and do a bunch of things or go and talk about and gather the information and then not do anything. Does that make me a talker more than a doer? Because I feel I have a lot more talker ideas than I have.
No, because for those who don't know, Joe, when he gets off of work, he sits and doodles and tinkers in his garage until.
What most people don't know is that I have a different job than most humans. Right. My job is in my garage.
Right. That's what. But you're not, and that's why I say that you're a doer. I don't know you to not be doing, even in your spare time, you're doing.
Yeah.
Whether it's with the Rotary, whether it's with your kids at school, whether it's
Carrie Main Street Fest,
right?
The chamber,
Lynn. That's it, right? So that's why I say I don't think you talk while you're doing. You're that guy. Right there.
I'm coming up with ideas as I'm
right, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because I don't think you know how not to do.
100%.
But I feel like there's like a lot of people that have things that they talked about that they never did, that they look back and be like, well, shit, like I should have really followed through on that. I feel
there's some big ones on the plate and I just let one go.
But I don't know how it is, like, because Colette's, she's out of college now.
Yeah, she's 22.
Yeah, so like I know that
22 tomorrow. Happy birthday, Colette.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
But I know that like Gavin kind of struggled between that like 19 to like 23 kind of range. Yep. He like struggled with like being more of a talker than a doer, and now that he's approaching 24, he's like, well, shit, like I should have, if I would have done, then I would be in a different place now going into 24 than I am now.
Right. My hustle's different because I don't have a college degree. So my hustle's I do a lot because just that's the ground, that's the road I took. Right. You, Steph, are also very much a doer, but I think all mothers are doers because moms don't get days off, especially moms who are entrepreneurs, because I can go home, right, and I can absolutely do nothing. Right. My dad said when I was a kid, it was probably the worst thing he could ever say to me because I had ADHD and I was a bit of hyper. He's like, you got to learn how to just do nothing. Well, I've done that, which pisses Alice off quite a bit sometimes because I'm like, what are you doing? I'm doing nothing. I learned how to years ago.
Well, it's just like we like
right.
Hang on, I'm really good at it too. There's a time in the day to that point because everybody knows me as doing right.
Yeah.
And my neighbor will say the same thing. Dude, Joe, you're always doing stuff, and he sees me actually always doing the things where most people will just know that I'm doing them in my garage and they just show up, right? He sees me doing them all day, every day.
Yeah.
But there's a certain point, it's like 6:30, 7 o'clock, where I just go, I'm done. I'm done. And I go, Carrie, I'm done. I'm going outside. I'm going to sit. I'm going to smoke morning. And I'm gonna go to bed then.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and make it till 8:30. Before I get in bed.
I'm gonna push the boundaries to 8:30.
Some nights it's 8 o'clock. I'm like, nope. If I can get to 8 o'clock before I get in bed, great.
Yeah.
I'll lay in bed for a half hour, whatever. But yeah, I mean, 9 o'clock I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm up at 3:34 doing.
Yeah, but it's just like I mean, we got home from our trip, from our undisclosed location, and my foot/ankle area was the size of a tree trunk. And I literally sat on the couch to like.
And Rich said, that's not your foot. Never mind.
Just prop up my foot for a minute. And Rich is sitting next to me on the couch.
Yep.
And Eli comes up and he's like, hey, Mom, can you make me some French toast stickies? When Rich is sitting right there, I'm the one.
That's what I mean.
My kids do that all the time.
That's what I mean. Moms don't get days off.
they'll walk past me, go 20 feet further, and ask their mom the same thing that's sitting right next to me.
See, but here's the thing. My dogs will walk right past Alice when they need to go out, and they'll come get me. And I'm like, you literally just walked past Mom. She's sitting at the kitchen by the door.
No.
And then Alice is like, tough shit.
That's on you.
Right.
So we consider ourselves doers, right? I mean, there's always a level.
I'm a 50-50.
There's always a level of doerness, right? 50-50, but you get stuff done. You're a coach.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You have this.
Well, I feel like there's
You have
just
a job,
always
right?
like
no, you're doing stuff.
I do. I'm always going as well.
Yeah. You're not 50-50.
But when I stop, let me tell you what.
That's like me. At
the
the
parachute,
end of the night,
the parachute pops and I hit the wall.
I love that analogy, and I'm using that from here on out. I love that analogy.
It's true.
So true.
But I feel like what I said earlier, though, like you have to have a balance between being a talker and being a doer for you to keep propelling forward. Like if you're like really heavy on one side versus the other, it's going to be difficult for you to propel forward at a, comfortable pace. Like if you're a doer and you're not a talker, like you'll get through stuff, but I feel like you're going to break things and be so inefficient more often than you'll be successful on the first run.
Totally.
But I also want to come back to something you said a little bit earlier, Steph, is that you said, I feel like when I'm directing them, what I'm doing, I look at a lot of logistics people who don't ever move. You know what I mean? But they're like, okay, I need you, and then I need you, and I need you. And then they go out and they smoke a cigarette, have a cup of coffee. They come back. You are doing stuff. Now they go, okay, now I need you, and I need you to do this. And then they go out and smoke a cigarette and have a cup. You know what I mean? To me, those aren't doers, though, because.
Well, there's doing okay. When it comes to talking about it versus being about it, I think the context we're talking about here is above and beyond your normal protocols to life and work, and right?
Yeah.
It's going above and beyond.
If I'm delegating, there's a hard deadline.
Okay.
Like if I tell my team, like, hey, this is the project, you have until this day to complete the project. Yeah. And usually at the halfway mark, I'll send a follow-up email to everybody and be like, hey, checking in, send me where you guys are at with said project, because there's only 2 more weeks. And if you're behind on your side and somebody else is ahead on theirs, they're going to pick up the slack and we're going to get it done on time. So there's hard deadlines. If I tell you to go do something with no deadline, then I'm not doing. Then you're not doing. Because there's no sense of urgency. Totally. There's no
deadlines.
Like you could just do it whenever you're wanting to do it. Because I've had managers before where they're like,
that was
they're like, oh, we need to count the warehouse. Okay. Nobody likes counting the fucking warehouse. Everybody hates it. So I will wait until you force me to count the warehouse on December 29th. But like, I know it has to get done. But you didn't give me a deadline. So, like I would be the person that will count it April 13th, knowing that you got to turn your taxes in with the said inventory number. And I will backdate. I will run through all those invoices from January through April just to get the true numbers back to December. Like I will do that much extra work to not count the warehouse at the end of the year.
Okay.
So I feel like it's a dangerous game when you don't give somebody a hard deadline.
But that's being the doer. Right. So you are the doer by giving the hard deadline, by doing that. If you're not the doer, you're just coming up with ideas. That's where I think like it's putting plan to action makes you not the talker, but the doer. Yeah. Right. You have to put plan to action.
Well, because we've all talked about this before, that we've all been part of networking groups and have had like brainstorming or roundtable or mastermind or whatever you want to call said thing. And
is that your leg I'm touching?
No.
What is that about? No, it's the ghost. Don't you hear them squeaking?
And so they do all of so you sit there and you talk about all these things, you do all these things. And it's even sometimes there's been networking groups where you talk about how to grow the group.
Totally.
And all these things. And then like
nobody goes out. You get out of if you have 10 people in the group, you get 2 that devote, you get 20% that devote to it. You get 5 people, 50% that just kind of half-assed, but say they did it, and then you get the other 3 people, 30% that do jack shit.
Right.
100% of the time. I love that.
Do you, Joe?
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like it makes your skin crawl.
How about those bears?
I mean, I don't know.
Or is that a different show for a different
That
day?
could
People
be.
that don't do things, those to me are like
Volunteers who are non-volunteering.
that to me is the people that that's fine, because they're also going to be the ones that ask why they didn't get to go on the trip or why they didn't get to go do whatever. When I became really good at selling, it was because I would never say no.
Yeah.
But I knew that if I said yes, I had to get it done. So getting it done is not, it's, anybody can just say yes to something, but you have to now get it done. And so the more that I was able to figure that shit out and do that, I mean, to me, that's, you become the yes guy, but you become the yes guy with solutions. And right there, you become the doer.
Right. So you two donate a lot of your time volunteering for different. We've got Cary Main Street Fest coming up tomorrow in Cary, Illinois. And we've all done it, and we've all known the people who are I'm gonna talk about it, right? Hey, I volunteered for. But when they got there, they're like, well, where's the free beer? And you're like, what? Yeah, I'm volunteering. Where's the free beer?
Where's the beer? I mean,
right?
They show up and we did this festival and a couple of weekends ago, and there was a guy there that was volunteering, and he literally got a chance to drive a golf cart, and he drove the golf cart, and he took the keys out of it and was like, look, I got a golf cart. That's my golf cart now. And I'm like, the fuck you need a golf cart for? Like,
right?
You're not running shit. You're not doing anything. Like, you're just saying that because you got a golf cart.
I'm going to talk about it. Yeah. Look at my golf cart.
He's like, oh, I got this vest. And, they made him switch vests with a different vest, and he was really mad because the other vest was cooler, and he really wanted to keep that other vest. And I'm like, are you
I know.
Are you really doing this right now? Like, you're here to help and volunteer.
But and so many people, I just want to be in the picture. I want to tell people, oh no, I volunteered for Cary Main Street Fest. I was, and you're like, well, what did you do? Well, I volunteered.
I helped. They'll come up with everything that they did. I moved the envelopes from there to over there.
Right.
Each task.
But that's a talk about it to me as well, because they're not going above and beyond at that point. They just want the glory.
So I feel like they're only doing because said items were delegated to them for doing. They would talk about how they're
I hate
like how they're like volunteering or they're doing this or they're doing that. But if once you get out there, like, and if you've volunteered at said festival more than 1 year, you know the flow.
Mm-hmm.
You know the flow. You know the routine. You know what's expected of you. You know
any festival, we'll call it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if you know where you're supposed to be. Like I do, and volunteer for certain things. I know what I need to do, what everybody needs to do to get the thing moving along.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need anybody to delegate to me or tell me, because I feel like those people that only do the delegation, that constantly talk about their volunteering, are talkers.
I know. I just
if they need the delegation, then
here's a great example. And this is something that I always am respectful of, is the people that probably set this entire event up. Whatever they say, I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
We do. Are you skadoodling?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that came up quick.
Yeah.
All right. I'll tell the story and then we'll end it out. What you learned today?
She's a doer.
Yeah.
She got to go get it done.
I learned that
I'll tell you, just because you're going to leave and I'm going to say it, but I learned that Steph has more Halloween sweatshirts than she
Any
really
woman
should.
Yeah.
And therefore she starts wearing them in September.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
And
then get out of here. You got to go get your
I learned, I
neighbors'
guess,
kids.
that this Happy Dad beverage isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Oh, snap. It's no pirate water.
It is no pirate water.
All right,
Thank
you guys
goodness.
have a good weekend, and I will see you next week.
All right, so you need help down the stairs. You're still in that boot.
I'm good. I can
She can sit on her butt and slide like a little kid.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, where was I going with that? Oh, we set up this trip for our guys trip, right?
Yeah.
And this is quintessential doers versus talkers.
Talk about it, yeah.
Right? And so we set up this guys trip. You set up a guys trip.
Yes.
Right? And so our guys trip, the 4 core guys that started this guys trip and have been doing it, we spend, hours well before the trip to set shit up and get things organized. Schedule the trip, pay for it, collect money, set up a food.
Yeah.
Like all the lodging, the this, the that. We set everything up. And so then we get there and there's some people that are like, well, wait, why aren't you doing anything? Right? Why are you telling me what to do? Motherfucker.
Right.
You know how much I put into this? Yeah. You're just going to pay the same amount as me and then think we're all equal? Nope.
Well, and that's what the same thing, right? This year for me is set it all up. I took care of it, the cost, right? And then the deal was, hey, y'all buy the meals, the beers, the whatever, and it's still not going to add up to what I put in, right? Totally. But then people are like, are you going to throw anything in? Oh no.
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. No, you're all going to pay for me.
Right.
So on our trip, just to get the finances and just wash that one away, we keep a spreadsheet, and I got this banging spreadsheet.
Nice.
It puts everybody's expenses in, and then equates it all out, and it'll tell you exactly who owes what.
Nice.
It's a bang. I could show it to you. I'll send you my spreadsheet.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah.
But no, to me, if you're going to go and do a trip like that or go and do some special event or something big, you got to know that not everybody's going to kick in. Not everybody's going to be.
Well, that's what Eric says. Would you really want everyone to be involved from start to finish? Heck no.
I mean, if they're gonna work hard and help out, yes, I have no problem with it. Now
if
that
they're
being
doers.
said, what?
If they're doers.
If they're doers, but like most people aren't. I understand that, but then when they get there, I'm gonna be like, you go do that. I have no problem telling people what to do.
Yeah.
When it comes down to the time.
Right.
No problem. I've put this much effort into it. You need to help me get across the finish line. You're here for the last 20, 10, 30%. Great. Go do this.
And of course, like Rock says, know your role and shut your mouth. It doesn't matter what your role is. It's a banging spreadsheet. Didn't think I'd hear that on this show today. Eric says, and of course, and now Eric is the quintessential. He's not a talker about it. He's also an author. He runs great business. Great dad, great husband. He's one of those doer guys, which is. And by the way, wearing bedazzled pants today. No vest, but does have his bedazzled pants.
Interesting. All right. So speaking of doing, I'm going to send you my logo so you can update.
Yes, please do.
And then after that, I think that's it. We call it an audible and call it off.
All right. So what did you learn? Oh, the sweatshirts.
I learned that Steph has a buttload of Halloween sweatshirts that she has to start wearing her shirts. Halloween shirts, I should say.
Halloween.
That she has to start wearing them in September.
Swag.
Yeah. Which I'm not going to hate. I love that.
No, you can't hate on that. Yeah.
I'm not allowed to.
Here's what I learned today is I think there's a fine line between talk abouters and being abouters, right? and that you can be one or the other, or you can be both, but you can't be more of a talkabouter than a doer. You're either just a talkabouter, but you could be a doer and talk about it while you're doing, right?
Interesting. So you could be 50-50, or you could be more on the doing side, but you're not allowed to be
I don't think
on
so.
the talking side.
Right. It's like the volunteer.
I love that perspective.
Yeah.
I really do like that perspective. I would agree.
Yeah. Because I can sit there and talk
doing.
about what I did at this said festival, and everybody's going to be like, you did nothing.
You stood in one spot.
Right? You did.
You made
nothing.
sure nobody went in and out of the gate.
Hey, I was
the best goddamn gate
I was
blocker.
stage right secure. Let me tell you that. I'm gonna tell you.
You didn't even have the action side. I had the
I know, thank God.
Oh my God, my arm was so sore from opening that gate back and forth.
I was like, oh, geez. I kept hearing it on the radio too.
Do you know how many cute girls came up to me and asked me if they could get back there?
7.
It was a lot.
You must have had them. I had a couple of drunk guys. I'll give you $100. Get back there, get a picture. I'm like, well, keep going.
Okay.
Hey, how do I get back there, buddy? How do I get back? Well, I'll let you back there. It's fine. But there's police, and then there's more security.
Yeah, you're going to get tackled.
So what's your story? They're like, what? I go, don't throw me under the bus.
Yeah. You need a whole thing, dude.
You need a good story.
That's funny. I enjoyed it. I'd do that spot again. I like that.
I like that.
Door. I like the active door.
I liked where I was. There was some, not as crazy as you. I had families and special guests going back and forth, but
no, I was
nothing huge.
There were more people going back and forth.
Yeah, you had the crazy side.
Yeah.
Well, you can have it next year.
It was the fun side.
Yeah.
It was the fun side.
It was.
It was the dark side of it.
Yeah, I probably didn't make that 8 hours feel so much like 8 hours.
And yours did, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Nope, mine did not.
Like, oh, Lord.
No, mine, I in fact stood on the
How many more songs? Yeah.
Just looking over. Yeah, things we do, right?
Yeah.
I am going to be fucking busy this weekend.
Yeah, and it's Cary Main Street Fest. Starts when?
That's right. Tomorrow, I think 1:00.
Yeah.
Is the kickoff, and that will be the Brew Fest, which
Okay.
I will be running around handling.
Yeah.
And then there'll be other things, music. There is a Tennessee whiskey. It's a Chris Stapleton cover band.
Yeah.
All cover bands that are coming in, but they're supposed to be really good.
Yeah.
Right. The Tennessee whiskey has a good following.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there should be a lot of great stuff. And then Sunday we have the farmers market, which will be going on, and then right into the bags tournament. And I'll be running the bags tournament, so I'll be there. I'll be there the entire time.
You're going to be about it all weekend,
I'll be
that's for sure.
This and probably a little bit different colored, something a little darker.
Yeah.
So people can see me, but headband and this shirt and a walkie-talkie, and I'll be.
It's a good time. If you don't have anything to do with family out there, visit the Cary Main Street Fest tomorrow. A great family event for a great cause.
Tons of kids things to do, music, live music, beer tents. It's a social district in the village of Cary, so you can walk through the village with an open container,
with an open drink,
wherever, and tons of things to do, music, food. It's supposed to be a really fun time.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking really forward to it. I know I'm going to be exhausted.
Yeah, it's going to be
like the other fest.
Oh man, Sunday was so relaxing. It was just like I was not a doer that Sunday. The next day,
I did. In fact, I told my wife same thing. I go, I'm doing nothing today.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit in the garage and I'm just going to be on my phone playing fishdom.
Oh,
and
nice.
I might as well. And I'm going to listen to music and I'm going to smoke weed and I'm going to maybe have a beer or two, and that's it.
And that's all I can handle.
That was it. So.
Listen, great stuff today. And again, folks, if you missed out or you want more of Steph and Joe, go out to Spotify and just punch in the know Steph Joe. In the know Steph Joe. It'll take you right to their Spotify podcast.
Steph Joe.
Yep. And it'll take you right to their podcast site, and you can listen to all the past episodes. And the more you like, subscribe, the more platforms that we get out on as well. So
I love that.
Apple Music.
All right, let's do a campaign.
Yeah.
I want everybody that out there that talks about it to be about it and
that's it.
Go subscribe. Go find us and click.
Yep.
And like us and love us and do everything smoking to it. I'm sorry. That was I started going down the wrong path.
Yeah, I don't.
Let's get out of here.
All right. For all of us here at 216 Creator Studios for In the Know, Steph and Joe, for Steph's Bookkeeping and Restoration One of Carrie. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you next week. And here's the cool thing. Next week is 10-4, Big Buddy. And
That's fun.
And we are going to be talking about the cost of learning something new.
Mm-hmm.
The cost of learning something new on 10-4, Big Buddy, and we'll be good to go. And for all you millennials, 10-4 is CB talk.
Yes.
Closed band radio. But all right. All right. Anyway, have a great weekend, y'all. And you know what? All we're asking to do is be about it this weekend.
That's it. Go do. Peace.